Well, hello everybody and welcome to Jeff's baking blog. Today I'm going to be making something called Lazy Daisy cake. Now, I've never heard of this cake until a couple of weeks ago when I was doing some searching through YouTube, and I found it, and it seems to be a cake dating from about the 1930s or 40s and is popular apparently in Canada and some parts of the United States. So basically it's a sort of sheet pan type cake, or a cake in a shallow tin like this one, and it's then, once the cake is baked, it's topped with a sugary and coconut topping and put under the grill or broiler until the topping bubbles and goes a little bit brown, and then you cool it down and you're ready to eat it. So for the ingredients, I have some hot milk here, which is 120 millilitres, and I'm going to pop into that 14 grams of butter. So I'll just stir this to melt the butter. So that's melted, and I'm going to set that aside. And for the cake, the rest of the cake, I have 130 grams of plain flour, 200 grams of caster sugar, 2 medium eggs, that would be large in the USA, 1 teaspoon of vanilla, a teaspoon of baking powder, and 1/4 teaspoon of salt. So the first thing I like to do is to mix the baking powder and the salt with the flour, and then set it aside. So I'll just give that a little stir, and then the next thing we have to do is to mix our eggs and our butter together and the vanilla extract. So I'll put the eggs and sugar together. So I'll put the sugar into the bowl and the eggs. You can do this by hand if you want to, or with a hand mixer, and I'll put the vanilla extract, 1 teaspoon, in as well, and then I'm going to mix that until it's nice and thick and fluffy. It'll take a bit of time. So we now have our egg mixture nice and thick and fluffy, and into that I'm going to put the 130 grams of plain flour with the baking powder and the salt, and I'm just going to mix that to get it combined. And what we'll need to do is just scrape down the sides . Now I have my oven preheating at 180 Celsius, 160 Celsius with a fan, 350 Fahrenheit. In fact, I'm still trying to work out quite what temperature my oven gets to, so my setting is slightly different to that, but that's because at 155 Celsius my oven, my external thermometer shows 160. So with that flour combined, the next thing to do is to pour in our butter and egg mixture. Whoops, I've just splashed some of that on me. And I'm going to pour it in a little bit slowly. And then just scrape round. And give it another little mix. So that should be it. And I have a 9-inch square tin which I'm going to use to bake this. I'll just scrape to make sure there's no thick batter at the bottom. All seems to be okay. And I have greased the tin with baking spray, or you could use butter and then flour the tin and pour your batter in. So with the batter in the tin like that, I'm just going to put that in the oven and I'm going to bake it for 23 to 25 minutes until it's begun to come away from the edges a little bit and it's springy on the top. Then I'll take it out and we'll get on with the next step. So while our cake is baking, I'm going to get on and make the topping for it. And for that I have 80 grams of desiccated coconut, sweetened. Shredded coconut would be better, but in the UK it's very difficult to get shredded coconut. I also have 60 millilitres of cream. You can use any cream or you could use milk if you wanted to. I have 70 grams of butter and 125 grams of light brown sugar. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the cream and the butter and the sugar into a saucepan, and then I'm just going to bring them to the boil and take it off the heat after that, and stir in the coconut, and our topping is then ready to go onto the cake when it's baked. I'm going to heat this on not too high a flame. Okay, so our cream, butter and sugar has boiled, and I'm going to pour in the coconut and mix it all in. And I'm going to set that aside and wait for the cake to finish baking, and then I'll be back with you to do the next step. Okay, so now I have the cake out of the oven, and I'm going to pour our coconut mixture over the top and then just level that out. The cake has come away from the edge as we expected. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put that under the grill or broiler for 3 to 5 minutes until it's bubbling all over, and then I'm going to take it back out and let it cool down completely. And when it's cooled down completely, I'll be back with you and we'll cut into it and take a look at it. Okay, so I'm back with you now, and the cake is out of the oven and cooled down completely. So now we're going to cut it. Now this cake is one of those which is supposed to be served from the tin. So I'm just going to cut it into squares as well as I can. As you can see, we have our nice sticky coconut topping. And I'm then going to try to take one piece out, like that, and here we have our cake. And what I'll do, I'll just get a fork and have a taste of this for you. That does taste very good. The cake is nice and soft and moist, and this caramelly coconut on top. That is delicious. So that's it for this recipe. I hope you've enjoyed it, and if you have, please give me the thumbs up below the video and click on the subscribe button to subscribe to the YouTube channel. In the top right hand corner of the screen you'll find an eye which you can click to get to the recipe, or I'll put a link as well below the video that you can click to get to the recipe. So that's going to be it for today. I will be back with you with another recipe in the very near future. So until then, happy baking.